So exploring rabbit holes has been a pretty big YouTube trend for a while, which has led to some people creating some pretty interesting charts and compilations that delve into these mysterious phenomena. Welcome to the rabbit holes to never go down iceberg. Alright, let's not waste any time. These are the rabbit holes that, as the iceberg title suggests, you should never venture into. And believe me, you shouldn't. But don't worry, I've gone down them for you guys. And for this video. Yeah, it wasn't fun. Quick and obvious disclaimer, this goes without saying, but I'm gonna be talking about some pretty bad things in this video. I'm gonna be careful with my wording, YouTube, okay? But yeah, if you're sensitive to anything disturbing, then just leave the video, I guess. Finally, I'm not gonna spend too much time on the better known entries, cause that'll just be boring for me and you. I'm gonna play some Super Mario Galaxy gameplay, cause I can't show 90% of the content on this iceberg. Alright, let's get into it. UVB76. This is the nickname of a mysterious Russian shortwave radio station that has been broadcasting a repeating buzzing noise since the 1970s. The station is notorious because occasionally it's interrupted by a Russian voice reading out numbers and names. This is what that sounds like. Even weirder yet is that the purpose of the station has not been confirmed by government or broadcast officials. The station has been the subject of much speculation and conspiracy theories, with some believing it to be a spy station or a part of a doomsday device. Some people actually think this number station could trigger World War III. These are pretty cool theories. There's probably not much to it though. Side note, I'm trying to keep this video under 30 minutes, so I'm gonna explain every entry in a very condensed way, but every entry here could have a video of its own, so yeah. Log posting. Alright, this entry is literally just a 4chan poop joke. I'm not even gonna bother. Again, it's just a 4chan poop joke. It's not really interesting, so. Blue Waffle. Blue Waffle is a made-up fictional STD or STI, whatever you want to call it, that kind of became a meme back in the late 2000s because of the name Blue Waffle. And also, back then, you would see like these top 10 things you should never Google videos. They were pretty dumb, but you would see Blue Waffle on these lists, because if you Googled Blue Waffle, extremely graphic pictures of infected genitalia would appear. I don't think that happens anymore, but who knows. It's theorized that the STD associated with the Blue Waffles thing is actually chlamydia, though nobody actually knows, so yeah. Salad Fingers. This is a web series created by David Firth, featuring a strange character named Salad Fingers. It's about this weird, lonely green guy wandering around on this wasteland. The series has gained a cult following for its surreal and disturbing imagery, and has been the subject of much interpretation. Some YouTubers have made pretty good videos on this series. MatPat, Wendigoon. Yeah, I love the creepiness of this series. I've been keeping up with it since episode 10 came out, and honestly, it's better experienced on your own. Be warned though, it's pretty spooky, so. Hoof Doctor. I wasn't really sure what this was referring to. At first I found something saying this was like a Bigfoot type of thing, but after some more digging, I think this is just referring to this person or these people that treat horses and cows who have severely infected hooves. I don't know why this is on the iceberg, honestly. It's not really a scary rabbit hole. It's just kind of wholesome. I mean, I guess some of the pictures can be a little graphic, but yeah. Two Girls, One Cup. This is a shock video that gained notoriety in the late 2000s for its content. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this one. So the video depicts two women engaged in a graphic act, culminating in one of them defecating into a cup, and they eat it. They eat the thing in the cup. This isn't new, like, this is a very well-known video, unfortunately, so. Missing 411. This is a series of books by David Paulides think that's how you say it, that explore mysterious disappearances in national parks and forests across North America. The books have gained a following among conspiracy theorists and those interested in the paranormal, with some suggesting that the disappearances are the result of supernatural or extraterrestrial activity. There's some pretty well made and detailed videos on this that cover the subject way better than I ever could, so. Cicada 3301. If you've been active on YouTube for the past decade, you're probably familiar with this entry. Cicada 3301 refers to a series of online puzzles, 3 to be exact, that were posted from 2012 to 2014. These are highly complex and require knowledge of cryptography, steganography, and some other fields. So a lot of the puzzles actually required people to call phone numbers and actually go to some specific coordinates. Some of the puzzles were actually solved by people like Joel Eriksson and Marcus Wanner, but there's still a lot to be solved. To this day, the purpose of Cicada 3301 is unknown, but most people believe it may be a recruitment tool for a secret society or intelligence agency. To be honest, it was probably made by some 4channer as a joke. Like, come on. MK Ultra. This was an illegal human experimentation program ran by the CIA. It ran from the 1950s to the 1970s and aimed at developing mind control techniques through the use of drugs, hypnosis, and other methods. The program was obviously highly controversial and has been the subject of much speculation and conspiracy theories. Yeah, cool, I guess. Ted's Caving Page. Otherwise known as Ted the Caver, this was a blog website that featured a fictional account of a man exploring a mysterious cave system. It's actually considered to be the first creepypasta, being made in 2001, and back then the story gained a following for its unsettling descriptions of the cave, and it was a subject of much analysis and interpretation. The story goes a little like this. Ted began an Angel Fire page on March 23, 2001 to share his caving journal online. The posts detail events that occurred in December 2000 when Ted and his friend Brad, whom he referred to as B, began exploring a cave they found close to their home. When they entered the cave, they found a narrow passageway with a small hole that they began to drill through in order to explore further. The blog documents the strange occurrences that Ted, Brad, and later his friend Joe would encounter, including screaming, unnatural wind, and strange hieroglyphs that appeared deep inside the cave. The blog abruptly ends on May 19, 2001, with a post detailing a 3-week period of time after their last visit to the cave. During this time, each of the cavers reportedly suffered from hallucinations and nightmares, leading to Ted, Joe, and B agreeing to visit the cave one final time for closure. Prepared to enter the cave with a gun and a knife, Ted stated in the final blog post that he will update the website immediately after he returns with answers to everyone's questions. The site has not been updated since. Gang stalking. So this is a subreddit and it's dedicated to the belief that individuals are being targeted and harassed by a group or groups of people often referred to as gang stalkers. The concept of gang stalking is not recognized by mainstream science or psychology and is often associated with tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists. It gets a little darker when you realize that a large portion of people on the subreddit must be suffering from schizophrenia or some sort of delusion, and most of the subreddit is just an echo chamber of people triggering each other. Look, I'm not saying it's all fake, but some of the videos on this sub are literally just members recording random people. There's videos of them thinking there's people trying to reach through their TV and stuff like that. It's really weird. I already talked about this entry on a previous video, so I'm gonna keep it brief. This is a term used to describe websites, blogs, and social media accounts that promote anorexia as a lifestyle choice rather than a serious mental illness. These sites often feature inspiration, images, tips for weight loss, and encouragement of disordered eating behaviors. Yeah, a lot of these sites are still up to this day. Yeah. Mr. Hands. This is a really weird entry. So, Mr. Hands refers to the death of a man named Kenneth Pinion, who died in 2005 after receiving injuries during intercourse with a horse. Yeah, you heard that right. The incident gained notoriety and was widely discussed online, with an actual video of the incident being circulated on a bunch of shock sites. So yeah, the shock video in question is pretty short. Obviously, it's not nice to watch. This actually got a documentary in 2007 called Sue. Also, this is the case that finally put the nail in the coffin and made bestiality illegal, but only in Washington. Apparently, according to this article that I found, when this law came into effect, a whole community of zoophiliacs living in Washington had to move states. So yeah, let's move on. Goatsy. This one's just an old shock site image where the main page displayed a picture depicting a man stretching his backside with his hands. The image gained notoriety in the early days of the internet and has been widely circulated as a shock meme. The use of goatsy.cx as a fake link to shock friends became popular and was later adapted as a technique for other shock sites like Kekma. It definitely was a prototype for this. The creator of the image is a guy named Kirk Johnson, who was also featured on some other shock sites. The goatsy.cx domain was sold multiple times in the past. In April 2007, it was sold at an auction, but fake bids caused complications, leading to a reactivation of the auction. And the second auction was also affected by fake bids, to which cobidding.com, the people who were selling the website, then announced the sale of the website for $500,000. with plans for legal action against the fake bidders. As of November 2007, the website was still available for sale with a minimum asking price of $50,000. And in 2008, the website was purchased for €8,000 and is now being developed as a subdomain service for hosting websites. The website also announced the development of its own cryptocurrency, Goatsy Coin. The owner ended up selling 6,000 pixels for $624. Yeah, it's pretty random. Lake City Quiet Pills. This was a cryptic website that emerged in the early 2000s, centered around a blog ran by a man named Milo. Also known on Reddit as user Religion of Peace, the website LakeCityQuietPills.com was rumored to be a front for an ex-military assassination ring. And after finding some discussions on contract killers in the source code of the website, people were able to connect it to the assassination of Hamas officer Mahmoud al-Mabhouh in late January of 2010. The site was shut down in 2009 after Milo's passing, and this was the last post made by Redditor 2-6 announcing Milo's death. Pain Olympics. This refers to a series of videos depicting extreme acts of self-harm and mutilation, often involving genitalia, and they were very popular shock videos back in the day. But the original Pain Olympics video did say that it was all fake, and yeah, it is fake, so let's move on. The Atlov Pass Incident. This refers to the mysterious deaths of 9 hikers in the Ural Mountains in 1959. The circumstances of their deaths were extremely weird. One person had their eyebrows missing, one had their whole tongue missing. It has multiple theories surrounding it, ranging from a military cover-up to them being killed by indigenous people. There is this one theory that suggests that the students were killed by the radiation from a weapons test, considering that there was radiation discovered on one of the victims' bodies. Alex from Tennessee. So the story goes that in April of 2013, an anonymous 4chan user would post coordinates to a so-called prize. He would instruct seekers to park nearby and walk to this point for the secret, saying it's under plastic at this point. The vagueness of this description, coupled with the fact that the coordinates were posted on 4chan out of all places, and the fact that apparently the anon shared a picture of a decomposing corpse, caused many users to believe that the original poster was either trolling or intended to lead them somewhere gruesome. However, one user who called himself Alex from Tennessee had both the bravery and time on his hands to travel to the original poster's coordinates. He went to the location, which appeared to be an abandoned building, and made several posts updating his findings. And after the last post he made, he wasn't heard from again. Some people say Alex was met with foul play when he got to the location. Some say he was the original anon who posted the coordinates. It's a pretty cool story, you can judge for yourself. Bug chasers. This refers to a subculture of individuals who actively seek out HIV infections. Yeah, this thing is real. The motivations behind people doing this is kind of complex. Some do it because apparently it gives them a sense of danger, and others see it as a way to be accepted within a community, so yeah. One man, one jar. This refers to a shock video depicting a man inserting a glass jar into his backside. I'm really trying to be careful, man. Which then shatters inside him, causing significant injury and bleeding. I read an interview on a shock site years back that the guy in the one man, one jar video did, and I remember him saying that he was fine, so... Nikki Katsuras. This refers to a widely circulated series of graphic photographs depicting the aftermath of a car crash in which a young woman named Nikki Katsuras was killed. The photographs were taken by California Highway Patrol officers and were leaked online, leading to significant controversy and legal action being taken against the officers. The leaked pictures involved in this case are super graphic, and for some reason people decided to harass her family by sending them the pictures. It's really disheartening. It's just, yeah, I mean, it's horrible. Russian lathe incident. This refers to a workplace accident caught on video, in which a man's arm was accidentally caught in the spinning blades of a lathe machine, leading to him being shredded into pieces. That's the best way I can describe it. The shock video circulated widely online and has been seen by too many people. It's sad because you can find a video of this guy's horrific death so easily nowadays. Like, just a simple Google search will literally give you access to this horrible video. I know many of you aren't gonna listen to me, but if you haven't watched this, do yourself a favor and don't go looking for this video. Also, this is where I start to question the creator of the iceberg a little bit, because even though this is like an actual legit rabbit holes iceberg, some of these entries are literally just popular shock videos and pictures. They are rabbit holes that probably end with one single Google search, if you know what I mean. Hisashi Oishi. This refers to a nuclear accident at a power plant in Japan, in which a man named Hisashi Oishi received a lethal dose of radiation, around 2 to 3 times the lethal amount. The incident and Oishi's subsequent medical treatment were widely documented and raised complex ethical questions around the use of nuclear power and medical experimentation. Also, there's like some gory pictures associated with this case. Like, people think it's Hisashi when they see the pictures, and that's a huge misconception because that's not Hisashi. That's another victim of another thing, so yeah, I just wanted to clear that up. ISIS footage. This refers to videos and images depicting violent acts committed by the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, otherwise known as ISIS, including beheadings, and other atrocities. These videos are often used as propaganda and fear factor by the group. There's a lot of popular ISIS footage, but there's also a lot of really obscure ones, so I guess this kind of makes sense being here. Serbian film. This is a controversial Serbian horror film depicting graphic acts of sexual violence, including incest and rape. The film has been widely criticized for its extreme content and has been banned in several countries. If you've also seen this movie, you know why this is on the iceberg. Unit 731. I already covered this entry on another video I made like a year ago. It's a pretty long read, so I'm just gonna give a quick summary. Unit 731 was a biological and chemical warfare research unit of the Imperial Japanese Army that operated in China during World War II. The unit conducted human experimentations on prisoners of war, but also normal civilians, resulting in thousands of deaths and 0 survivors. So some of these so-called experiments they would conduct is that they would kill people using a decompression chamber. They would freeze people's limbs until they were actually just frozen, until they were like completely hard, and later do experiments on those limbs. Anatoly Moskvin. This was a Russian historian and grave robber who gained notoriety for mummifying the bodies of young girls, 26 bodies to be exact. and keeping them in his apartment and also keeping them as dolls in his home. Apparently, there are pictures on the internet of these mummified bodies. So yeah, his reasoning for these crimes was that he wanted a daughter, but took a celibacy oath and was too poor to adopt. He was arrested in 2011 and charged with multiple counts of desecrating graves and dead bodies. Luca Magnotta. I don't want to spend too much time talking about this guy. This is a Canadian man who gained notoriety for killing and dismembering a Chinese student named Jun Lin and posting a video of the murder online. We're going to be talking about that video in a moment. So Magnotta was later convicted of first-degree murder and other charges and sentenced to life in prison. Apparently, he was a model and escort before this murder, and he was already known as a weirdo beforehand. He would post animal murder, specifically cat videos, on some websites and claim that the guy on the videos was him just to gain some attention. And after posting his actual murder video on bestgore.com, he would flee to Paris and Berlin. And the way this guy was caught was that he would spend all day in this internet cafe and he would be glued to his screen reading news stories about himself, and police were able to track him down because of this. Yeah, this guy was a psychotic narcissist. Cartel executions. Pretty similar to ISIS footage, this refers to videos and images depicting violent acts committed by Mexican drug cartels, including beheadings, executions, and other atrocities. These videos are a lot of the time more graphic than ISIS footage. They're also not as well produced as ISIS footage, and are also often used as propaganda by the cartels. One lunatic, one ice pick. This refers to a video posted online by the psycho we just talked about, Luca Magnotta, depicting the murder and dismemberment of a Chinese student named Jun Lin. Yeah, this video was extremely popular among shock sites, and it depicts a lot of things that are really messed up and I can't talk about on YouTube. It involves a lot of stabbing, and yeah. It was one of the first popular shock videos with the one thing, one other thing name, one man, one jar. So that's pretty interesting. Junko Furuta. This refers to the rape and murder of a Japanese teenager named Junko Furuta in 1989. Furuta was kidnapped and held captive for over 40 days, during which time she was repeatedly tortured and ultimately killed. The case gained significant media attention in Japan, and has been the subject of several books and even films. If you want to have a bad day, then go and read the Wikipedia page for Junko Furuta. Kelly Ronahan. This case is a pretty long rabbit hole, so I'm gonna try to give a really brief explanation. Kelly Ronahan is a woman who suffers from Munchausen syndrome, which is a psychological condition where someone pretends to be ill or deliberately produces symptoms of illness in themselves. She went to the hospital claiming to have some type of mysterious illness causing sores on her legs, and it quickly became clear to the medical staff that this mystery illness was actually her picking her skin, and over time she picked it so badly that her bones were exposed, and there were holes going all the way through both of her legs, which finally had to be amputated. She would post the photos and videos of her injuries on social media and never claimed responsibility for picking them, and supposedly there are pictures of her picking her nerves from her legs. I'm not gonna go and confirm that, but it's probably true. Funky Town. This refers to a video depicting the torture and murder of a man by members of an unknown group, though most believe it could have been a drug cartel. The video gained significant media attention, and it's widely considered the worst gore video ever made. It's not much of a rabbit hole, but I'm gonna quickly describe the video. I'm gonna try to be as careful as I can with my wording. Funky Town is a 2-minute and 50-second long video of an unknown man being savagely tortured in a white tiled room, while music plays in the background, including the song Funky Town. The man is seen lying on the ground with his arms and legs tied up with what appears to be an extension cord or wire. This man had several limbs cut off, his face was skinned off, and his eyes were gouged out while he lied in a pool of blood. The man was apparently also drugged beforehand to keep him alive longer while the murderers torture him. In the video, the victim, who barely resembles a person, manages to get his arms untied and tries to reach for his face. Keep in mind that the man has no face, no eyes, and no hands. The murderers proceed to do other things with a box cutter and a sickle, and the video does not capture the final moments when they end up killing this man. The video is most likely down here in the iceberg because of the mystery surrounding it. It is unknown who any of the people in the video are, including the man who is being tortured. Some commenters have claimed to watch an extended version of Funky Town on the deep web, though there is no proof of such thing existing. On February 14, 2021, a video titled "Hi, Smiley Face" was uploaded to goretube.net by user UCT. This video is yet another cartel gore video, but it has an eerily similar setting to Funky Town. And in the video, some cartel members do not good things with a man in a familiar looking white tiled empty room. It's possible that the people behind Funky Town are also behind this video. So yeah, it's a pretty gruesome rabbit hole. It's pretty weird. The video is extremely graphic. Again, it's considered the worst gore video ever made. So yeah. I wanted to note that there's some channels on YouTube that just strictly post gore video reactions. Yeah. And there seems to be a lot of people on YouTube who have watched this video and posted their reaction to this atrocity. This is a pretty weird thing, but you know, if you don't want to watch the video and you want to see someone else suffering, then you know, you can watch these reactions, I guess. Coldness in my heart. This entry is really hard to talk about on YouTube. But basically, this is the URL of a Tumblr user and famous for acts of extreme and likely fatal self-harm. I could find zero information on who the person behind these posts was, so I can't really elaborate any further. If anyone knows something, make sure to leave it in the comments. Alright, that was the iceberg. Now, I could have added more entries to the iceberg, and I was thinking of some actual spooky rabbit holes, like erratas, for example, but I'm gonna spare myself and I'm gonna leave this here. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe. I don't know how this video could have been enjoyable, but yeah. See you in the next video.